What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and Travis Mangone. Travis, we missed you last week. It was election day. We got a much-needed day off. You know, they should schedule some more off days for us content grinders more often. I actually kind of enjoyed it, but the 15 and the 13, bookending it was a little bit rough. But we have a pretty good slate today. Travis, we were talking about your weekend in this DFS streets. How's everything been going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend in the DFS streets for me. I didn't get that Tuesday off as much, spread, because I won a NHL ticket, so I had to play NHL that day, and I entered the lobbies, and it didn't work out as well as I was hoping, but wasn't terrible. I had a ticket, so it's not like it was everything. I think I also bet the Devils to win, and they won, so it was like whatever I actually entered in DFS was a wash, so I was fine with it. Though it was fun to obviously sweat out, but back to the grind, always grinding every single day. Here talking some NBA, which NBA is definitely my favorite DFS sport. Like I people have asked me, like, what's your favorite DFS sport? And like, I've kind of said NFL like in the past, but like this season has definitely made it where it's like, okay, it's NBA. Like I feel like it's official. I can move on. I could say it's NBA over NFL DFS, even though I love sitting on my couch on Sundays watching Red Zone. I love watching football games. But DFS sweat-wise, give me NBA over NFL any day now, I think.
All right. And Tyler, we had been getting a little spoiled, man. We'd just been, doing the playbook, putting the RPB tags in and making money. But yesterday was sobering reality there. Milwaukee couldn't get it done for us. The San Antonio Spurs, I knew that was dead like 6 minutes into the game. You could just tell, hey, these guys are going to get right tonight. But hey, we're back at it again. And I'll tell you what, Travis, one thing I like about the NBA, you have a bad weekend in the NFL, you have to wait a full week. Like, we get to get right back at it tonight, because obviously I was frustrated with yesterday's results. Tyler, in a rare role reversal, I actually hit my prop and failed on my sides, which is kind of fun. But hey, what did you think? Did you watch those games last night? And were you as surprised as I was at some of these results?
I did not watch any of the games. I was watching the football game, trying to ship that like we did last week. That didn't happen. But, I mean, I bet two guys to hit, 3 threes spread?
Yeah.
And they want to combine 2 for 14 or 2 for 16. So that went great. Glad we can get back at it today, I guess. But see if we can find some winners now. Glad you hit your prop. We might be switching roles here. Might be leaving props to you and taking the sides here because these guys are just not treating me well.
I wanted to say, spread. I want to say congrats to Tyler. I didn't get to say it to him last week because I wasn't here. So, if I had to make like a MySpace top 8 of like people I wanted to like actually like ship something like that I know, obviously not like members, but like people I actually know or do content with, like you'd be on the list. So I was very happy about that win. Congrats. And actually, I had a pretty nice sweat. Last night, Tyler, or 2 nights ago on the Brandon Ayuk captain. Basically, I think the winner was Carter at captain with Austin Eckler, and like my 2v2 was I had Ayuk in the captain and then Herbert, and it was like a point, like I think like a 1.5.
I think we had the same build because I had Ayuk and captain in one lineup.
Yeah.
He was down for the end zone on that one play. It's like just fall in. Because I had Jimmy G with him, so I would have got double the points. I would have got the passing touchdown.
Same, yeah. You had that same team. That team was sick. I didn't realize how good it was because I was like, I think I was watching NBA a little bit, and then I kind of died watching NBA, and then I started going back to watching NBA. And even last night, I actually watched a lot of NBA, more than the football was on the second TV, but I was kind of pretty focused on watching NBA. So I've watched a lot more. I feel like I do both. I kind of like watch the games and I do the League Pass, not League Pass, the Game Center thing on Yahoo. Reason I like that is I can just like read every.
What is that?
You don't know what this is? Oh man,
I have League Pass. I just flip through the channels like an old man.
This Game Center thing sounds like it might be something for me.
So spread people make fun of this watching experience that I like to do, but I'll send you it. Yahoo has like a couple Game Centers, but one is like elite. Like it's absolutely like the best because you can just read every single play that happens. I can read guys going in and out, like.
Oh, I've heard you getting roasted for this before, following along on the play-by-play.
Like, because I know everything going on. And like last night, I'm with my roommate. We're watching the game. And I look at my phone because like I'm texting my friend or something. And I said, did Giannis block that shot? And he goes, no. I don't know. And I said, okay. And I just go over to League Pass thing, not League Pass, the Game Center. And I go and I look and I see Giannis got the steal, and I was just wondering because I didn't know. And you can see rotations way more clear. Like one reason, yes, you can go on Popcorn Machine and look at everything, but one reason I feel like I've had a really good grasp on certain things is I just pull up the game center. I'm like, this team only played 8 dudes, or I'll be like, this team played 11 guys. Like, why are they playing 11? Like, honestly, one reason why I did not play Jaden Ivey on Saturday night on one of the teams that I had a pretty good score with was because I look at the game center. And also I did watch the game too. And I understood on Friday night that they're not using Jaden Ivey as much. And I saw how deep that Pistons team went. So Spread, I will send you it. You can give it a watch tonight. And then you can thank me later because I'm telling you,
shoot that my way too. I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I can have it up.
I feel like I'll be more into that than I am into sitting there watching the entire game.
Well,
I'd have just a game or two on TV, but that'd be fun to check, right?
But the thing is, you can go to the center and then you can just be like, oh, look, for instance, I was watching Torrey Craig last night and I was like, oh, Torrey Craig is in. Let me watch. And I was like, oh, Torrey Craig just got his 4th foul. This sucks. And then I changed the channel. It's just, I go, who's on the court right now? Oh, it's Giannis's rotation. Let me switch over to Giannis. It's the best way to watch. I'll send it to you too, Tyler.
All right. That sounds like a plan. So let's dive in tonight. And I can't wait to talk to you about these. Tyler, I wanted to talk to you a little bit before the show because I have a feeling you're not going to like a couple of my projections, but like Bill O'Reilly said, we'll do it live. We'll just hash it out here on the air as we break down this 5-game slate we have tonight. Let me pull up Bookmaker, get the current lines because we know how quickly they can change. And, of course, refresh Basketball Monster because you cannot do an NBA show, even in November without finding out all the injury news. So let us start with the Memphis Grizzlies and New Orleans Pelicans. Now, this is a fantastic game. Both these teams, right? What year was this that they were drafted, right? But Zion went number 1, John went number 2, so they're forever going to be linked. And I'm sure there's a little bit of rivalry because you don't get to be the professional level without thinking about these things. And I'm sure that DJ's in the chat just roasting. At least he's off me. At least he's roasting you today. You don't get to this level without that competitiveness. So I'm sure that these guys are aware of that, and they're going to be looking to put forth their best effort. And Tyler, I know that your team Pelicans, I ran the numbers right before we ran on. DJ's going to love this too. I have Memphis winning outright. So that rated to me as a play on the Grizzlies money line. But we know in the NBA, you can't just blind bet a model. You have to watch the games. You have to be aware of the matchups. And of course, the ever changing injury news. Tyler, when I tell you that I like the Grizzlies on the money line tonight, what are your first thoughts?
My thoughts are, how the hell are we betting this game without knowing the news? I mean, and plus it's Memphis's first game back with the 2 guys. Jaren might come back this game. Okay. You got to think that kind of messes into rotations a bit. I hate backing teams when they bring in a key guy like that.
But, okay, so Jaren Jackson's not a heavy usage guy, though, right? I mean, he gets a lot of peripherals. He's going to be great on defense, but it's not like the offense runs through him.
He's still a key guy on their team, though. It's just going to be trying to work him back in. They might also, dedicate. You know how some teams just throw a game to a guy? They're like, here, get yourself work back into the system real quick. We need you. He's kind of a key guy, so I think he could be that spot. I'm probably staying away from this one.
All right. Well, then that feels better. I mean, as long as you're not telling me this is an absolutely terrible play, because I seem to like it. And, of course, Travis, the news that he's talking about is Zion Williamson with the Q tag. What are your thoughts here on the Grizzlies and the Pelicans? And do you like my money line play here, or do you think that I'm walking into a hornet's nest?
So you like who money line? You said it was Grizzlies,
Memphis Grizzlies, but they're in New Orleans on the money line.
In New Orleans on the money line.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
obviously
plus 135.
Yeah, obviously if Zion's out, that's going to help you. Now, I mean, naturally you're going to gain a edge, right? Or the CLV, right? Look at the closing line value. So, I think overall DFS wise, I think this is going to be a game we are targeting because of Conchar is going to be big. I think Dylan Brooks is going to be big. I will say though, Spread, one thing that might hurt you is with Desmond Bane out, who's a pretty decent defender, right? He's a good shooter as well. Is more Dylan Brooks something you want to invest in? More Dylan Brooks shot attempts? Are you interested in that, Spread? Because I'm not.
I mean, yeah, talk about a downgrade. Desmond Bane has been, to me, he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL. I mean, NBA currently.
When did he go out? This morning? Why is he not
out for
injured?
2 to 3 weeks? Yeah, it was.
It was 2 days ago, right?
Well, I completely missed that one.
They
in the NFL
announced it
streets
like
for the weekend.
official like 2 or 3 hours ago. I think it was. I think I woke up to it or something.
Okay. I was wondering why when you said he was out, I didn't see his name on the report.
But
flip back to mine. Give me the Pelicans here, spread.
Okay, for DFS wise, I understand that Desmond Bane's a big deal. But has any team been able to absorb injuries better than the Memphis Grizzlies? I mean, they just keep trucking no matter who's in there.
Yeah, well, that's because normally it's Jaws out and then Tyus Jones, just absolutely like crushes. So I don't know. Who knows? We could be saying Tyus Jones is better than Ja. I mean, that's how crazy it's been. I'm pulling a Glock right here because I know.
Yeah, wow.
All right,
okay.
Travis, how do you feel about this take? SGA is better than Ja.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I actually like it. Yeah, I kind of.
I actually truly.
He's been saying it almost every episode to try and get JSU to come on, and JSU still hasn't made an appearance. We're like, what do we have to do? Like, say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times?
I said it to my friend. I kind of said it to him after we had talked, and he was like, he said it was like closer, but he still thinks he'd take John. I was like, yeah, I don't hate it. It's definitely looking good. SGA is awesome, so I've been a big fan of him. But yeah, spread. I don't know. I like Bane a lot. I guess that's one of my problems there. And this New Orleans team is good. They're deep as well, right? Like you say Memphis is deep. This Pelicans team is deep.
Yeah, that's another good point. I mean, I know from DFS it's huge, but I almost feel like the Pelicans can also absorb Zion being out pretty well. You just get a little more to Valanciunas, a little more to Ingram. He's not that good on the defensive end. You get a little more Herb Jones. Jose Alvarado, it's easy to find him minutes there.
Daniels will pop in there. They love to give him minutes too. So
Dyson Daniels, who I'm still pissed about for missing free throws against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, so I'm not in love with it, spread. I'll just say that. But let me dive into DFS a little bit because I think this game is definitely going to be a big game that people are looking at for sure. Mainly because there's going to be no Ja. So Conchar is going to pop up, or not, no Ja, no Bane. I think Conchar could pop up a little bit. I assume their starting lineup. I know Jaren Jackson is going to be back. So starting lineup's going to be what? Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson, Conchar, then probably Brooks and Ja.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my assumption of what it's going to be. So I think Conchar's in play, but he is 4'9". I thought he'd be like 4'5". So and it's a tough slate for value in general, but Conchar is in play for me as a value play, and he's guard and forward eligible, which is nice. John Moran grades out as like an interesting spend-up option today. Obviously, no Desmond Bane is going to funnel some more usage towards Ja's way. I'm torn at how I kind of want to handle this studs tonight. Like, do I want to make Ja one of my studs? I think he is going to be one that pops a bunch. Like, I think he could be one of the higher end ones. And if he is, which I'm assuming he's going to be, I don't know. I try to get different sometimes at the top, and I just don't know if John Morant's going to be the guy that I want to kind of like go to. I understand. I think he's a good play. Don't get me wrong, but I might try and get a little more contrarian at my studs. I haven't ran a lot of lineups or anything like that, so I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to go. But I do think Ja's someone that he's going to be on the list of my content, but will he be someone that I end up like locking in and being all over? I'm not sure because I don't know. I might try and go up to like a Luka. I might try to go to like a Kevin Durant instead, just because I don't think like there's a lot of stars on this slate that stick out that are worthy of being like that chalk, right? Like, for instance, when you have all these guys on the Celtics the other day out, is Jason Tatum good chalk? Yes, he's amazing chalk in that spot. You only have Desmond Bane out, so I think Ja is going to be the leader in the clubhouse as the best spend up. But compare Ja on this slate to other slates, is he that good, right? Like, is he that much worth it at the ownership he's going to see? At the end of the day, this is a 5-game slate, and ownership is going to condense on some of these players. So I'm going to think a little bit about it for sure. Like, Tyler, you play some showdown a lot in NFL. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, those are like really good flex chalks plays that are hard to fade. But like some of these other guys, like, Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, like these guys are just like drop back quarterbacks. They're not as good chalk. So it's like something to think about for sure. So I'm going to kind of compare it to some of the other studs and then figure out where to go from there. Like I can go De'Aaron Fox. I think he could be really interesting at lower ownership against the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm not scared of the Brooklyn Nets on defense. So
what about the big guy there?
What?
What about the big guy there? Sabonis, 9.
Oh, yeah, Sabonis is going to be good. We'll get into that. But I guess I was kind of comparing the guards. But, yeah, overall, I might try and stay away from Memphis a little bit besides, like, Conchar. I also think if Dylan Brooks ends up being chalky, like, I'm good. I don't need to watch that dude chuck and miss a bunch of shots. So, For me, I'm not super excited about this game. And then also with the Pelicans, the problem with them, so if you get Zion out, it obviously will make some of them interesting, right? It'll make Ingram more intriguing. It'll make Valanciunas at 7-2 kind of interesting. He'll get a little bit of a bump. And then what's CJ McCollum's price? 7-9. So he'll get a little bit of a bump as well, but I'm not dying to play Pelicans because not only do you have to get it right, the Pelicans have like the big game, but you have to get like the guy right, like of which one it is. And I don't normally love playing that guessing game if I don't need to. I think you can take some chances on them, but I just think there'll be other guys that I prefer to take shots on this slate.
All right. So, yeah, usually I like to build lineups while we're doing this show when I have you guys on. And I haven't put anyone from this game on yet, Travis. So you didn't
with that
necessarily
center spot being so weak, though, Travis, if Zion is out 7-2 for Joe Val, Adams is going to want to stay under the hoop. If he hits a couple threes, he could easily get you like 20-some points. No, even higher than that. And if he gets 30 minutes, we've seen him put up 40+.
No, you're 1,000% right about that. I'm pulling up my stuff now to run.
And you just look at center. It goes Sabonis, Joval, Podol, Nurkic, Zubac, Wood, Claxton. Like that spot's just weak today.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely weaker. So one thing just to call out, actually I'll do it when we get to the game, but yes, you're right about center. Like when I run stuff, you get, and this is kind of telling too, you get some of these guys that are power forward eligible that are slid into the center spot. So it's like, that also shows how like center isn't as like great today. So I do think Valanciunas will pop up a little bit because of that. But again, I'm not dying to play guys in this game. Like when I just ran stuff, like I'm not getting a lot of this game, and I don't think it's just necessary to like jump on it. And on top of that, like we do have news that could be coming later on where
it's going to give you flexibility, huh?
Yep. Yeah,
we talked about it before we went on the air, how good you are at these in-slate adjustments.
Yeah, like do you want to actually lock into those guys when you have Trey Jones questionable, Romeo Langford questionable, you got Nurkic questionable, Winslow, and Keon Johnson? Now, will we get injury news maybe beforehand? Yeah, we might get some updates before. You also might get a randomly like Kevin Durant is questionable. And then it's like, do I want to lock into these guys if for some reason this game could we get that news later? Those are little things that can happen on slates. Not saying they will, but there are things to think about when locking into that first game. Or you can go the other way and just say, hey, I'm going to let other people gamble on some of this news and maybe it doesn't help them and then go to another game. But my point is I don't already see Memphis and the Pelicans popping on that much stuff. And I wasn't that excited to play these guys. The only guy I was really thinking about was John Conchar. I was like, maybe he could be interesting, but he's actually not popping up as much because we have Jaren Jackson back there. And the other thing too is both these teams, they're willing to play very deep. Everyone always says when Memphis guys are out, oh, I got to get on this guy. But you know what? Sometimes it actually benefits the guys at the bottom of the pecking order more, and then they jump up more towards the top because they gain more minutes. Because Memphis never goes 8 deep, right? They always try to get 10 or 11 in there. And even the Pelicans, they've been playing 10 or 11 deep. And we know in DFS, playing teams that are 10 or 11 deep is not as valuable.
RunPureSports.com. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and let's move on to the Los Angeles Clippers, who are +7 in Dallas, taking on the Mavericks with a total of 212. Of course, Kawhi's out. John Wall's back. Davis Bertans is still out, and Reggie Bullock questionable. Yeah, 7. Pretty big line here for this game. And DJ's going to love this. I have about right. I actually have the Mavericks by 8, which surprised me when I ran it. Tyler, let's get some overall thoughts on this game. I didn't love getting involved here. If anything, I think I like the total a little bit more, going over just to 212. But what are your thoughts here on the Clippers? For a supposedly deep team, they have issues at point guard. And I know John Wall's good, and he gives you all the highlights. I don't know if he's necessarily ready to lead. I mean, this is a team that has championship aspirations, right? Reggie Jackson has definitely regressed to the player that he's been in Detroit, and I think it's really hurting this team. They're becoming pretty PG-centric. Now, Ty Lue has so many options off the bench, but my worry for this team is they're just not getting the point guard play that they need. If Kawhi was in, right, which everyone was excited for, then he could just, basically be the primary ball handler. But we're not getting that with this team right now. What are your thoughts here? Are you surprised that, number one, the spread is so big and that the projections came out to actually lean towards Dallas. What are your thoughts here when the Clippers take on the Mavericks, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, for a while their spread, I was fading these teams from when they were on back-to-backs in different arenas. But they're only going from Houston to Dallas. That's only got to be, a couple-hour ride.
Right.
And the other thing, too, is you look at last night's box score for the Clippers, their minutes distribution is just ridiculous. Not a single guy cracked 30
Well, they are
minutes.
the deepest team in the league.
But they didn't even let Paul George crack 30 minutes last night. The starters played 29, 28, 26, 25, 23. Then you had 5 guys come off the bench that played at least 19 plus minutes. Yeah. I know that sucks for DFS, but I think that kind of helps them in this spot because I don't think you see anyone sit. You're also adding John Wall back. Dallas has looked good this season, but lately they haven't looked all that great. Give me the points here, spread. I think the Clippers keep this one close.
Tyler, do you think I'm being unfair to John Wall?
I mean, I say no, but at the same time, it's like he could still get back to where he was, but it's going to take a while.
I mean, because he was just never that good a defender. He does have a nice mid-range jumper. He is a pretty good distributor, but just with the depth at the point guard position currently, I don't really know how much he has to this team. Travis, what are your thoughts on the Clippers, John Wall, and this number here?
I'm definitely not a John Wall guy. So I do not think he comes back to life. I think John Wall, if he's smart, he stays in this kind of sixth man type role, tries to own that usage off the bench and extend his career a bit, because if not, his career will not be.
The problem too is he was a athletic guard that used that speed burst. He was one of the fastest guys in the NBA. And then he pop an Achilles, tear an ACL, pop the Achilles again. All that explosion's probably gone. He was never a shooter. So it's all passing now.
Yeah, everyone thought that dude. Everyone thought that John Wall, he had he could finally figure out that 3-pointer. No, he never figured it out. He just didn't. Yeah, he could shoot it a little bit, but he wasn't shooting it at the ability that for instance, John Wall wishes he was Ja Morant, right? He never got to Ja Morant status. He was starting to make his way, but he never got to Ja status. And hopefully Ja can actually figure out how to shoot.
Back then, those guys wanted to be Derrick Rose, Mangone. They didn't want to be Ja Morant.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm just saying, John Wall. John Wall wishes he could have been Ja. Ja's better than John. Ja Morant is better than John Wall ever was.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I'll agree with that.
I think some people won't agree though, Tyler. I think some people will fight you on it. That's all I'm saying. And John Morant's very young as well, so dude hasn't even hit his prime. So. So let's go into this game. We are on, I'm blanking on which game we're on. Oh, the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. So, oh man, Luka was good to me the other day. So I kind of want to go back, but the problem is the price. He is not easy to fit on your lineups. It is very difficult to get Luka on your teams. Now, if we get some more value, it could be interesting. One thing also to note about this slate, this is not a good slate for value. And because it's not a good slate for value, I think you're going to see a lot of teams that don't spend up for some of these other options. I think KD and Luka will naturally go under-owned. If they do go under-owned, you're going to have to start creating some of your own value plays. You're just going to have to try and find some guys that maybe the field is not trying to play. So I don't mind these slates sometimes. And it seems like there's one game in particular, the Utah game, where it's just going to be a lot of our value. And yeah, there's some good plays, but you don't have to play them all. And you can kind of, again, create your own value a little bit and maybe grab one of these studs. So I'm actually considering trying to build a Luka or KD team and just grab them. Just grab one of those studs and call it a day. And I might even try to do it on I only have one team right now. I might do a second team. I'm still kind of debating what I want to do for the day. I might do 2 teams and be hey, one's KD, one's Luka. And then I'll just go from there. So definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how, Dallas shakes out. I think Luka's the guy that you want to look to go to. Other than that, though, Christian Wood's back. That's going to hurt Spencer Dinwiddie, and his price has gone up. Not excited for Tim Hardaway Jr. And the Clippers side of the ball, I just think some of these 5-game slates, sometimes it's good just to cross off an entire team. And I think this Clippers team is a good cross off. So I know we're already it's a 5-game slate. We're already 2 games in, but I kind of think these first
3
2
teams
games
scratched out already.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I think obviously it's despite the stud, right? Obviously Luka is a stud.
You've kept your flexibility by doing this.
What?
You've totally kept your flexibility here.
Sure.
If the late news hits, you are just sitting pretty.
Agreed, but the one thing I will say too is you do lose your opportunities to get like less combinations of things. Like that is like sometimes like, so one thing I like to do.
If you were doing like 20 teams, I could understand. But what'd you say? You're only running 2 teams tonight?
Yeah, but like I just think a lot of my point is a lot of the field is playing the Utah Knicks game, it looks like. So I like to have differentiation pieces. So I start to run out of games that have differentiation pieces in. But I mean, I like the idea of trying to stay away from this game as much as possible too. I mean, when's the last time you like Tyler, think about this season and spread. Are there many spots where you've been like, yeah, dude, I didn't play a Clipper and it hurt me? Like how many times has that happened? Maybe it's been Paul George and that's it. Zubac too, but like those were also spots where they were like less crowded, right? I mean, they were less crowded. Now there's a lot more guys there. So yeah, I just think we can keep moving this thing along and go to some other games. It's not what I'm dying to bet on either. So I think we can just kind of keep this thing moving, spread.
All right, let us keep it moving. The third game on the slate tonight is the Knicks and the Jazz. And you said a lot of people are going to be targeting this game. And of course, it's the highest total on the board, 232.5. Tyler, let's go ahead and start with you. I show a nice edge here towards Utah. New York Knicks 2-7-1 against the spread in their last 10. And they're also 2-6 against their spread in their last 6 against Utah, or last 8 against Utah. What are your thoughts here? I want to play the Jazz first game home, and we don't like that spot, but I think they could be okay in this spot. New York team that's been traveling. What do you think?
Yeah, give me the Jazz here at home. I think they win it. I think they cover. Also like the over because this Knicks team's playing zero defense.
And that's weird.
What the hell happened on Sunday is the big question here because that looked like an all-star game. I'm pretty sure every player that played in that game was at the UFC event that was in that arena the night beforehand and just stayed there and just decided they were going to run a scrimmage. So now they're traveling to Utah to play a gritty team that's just going to come in, play. They're going to run fast with these guards. They're going to shoot a ton of threes. I like Utah to win here. Give me the over, and then one prop. Give me Brunson's PRA at 30. I just think that's been a moneymaker all year. He kind of falls into about 15 to 20 points. He can grab you rebounds here with no real big men on either side. And then the assist will also be there for him also. So like that over 30.5 on his PRA.
All right. What are your thoughts there, Travis?
And sorry, I was talking in the Discord chat with the people. I did want to ask you guys a betting question before going to DFS. So I made a wager and I was going to ask you last week, but obviously we didn't have the show. I wagered on Colin Sexton, 6th man of the year at 55-1. Now we get him at 19-1, right? Do you guys still think there's still value on it? I mean, I'm not going to probably bet it, but do you guys think there's still value? And do you think I actually made like a sharp wager? Yes, I've gotten some, I guess I've kind of gotten some closing line value. You know what I mean? It's moving in my favor. It's gone well. But do you guys think I'll be live? And it's March. Do you think I'll be live with a Colin Sexton 55-1 ticket? Tyler.
Yeah, the concern is, of course, that the Utah does the trade-off and he moves into the starting lineup there.
They're not. But why are they?
You know who's our guy right now, Mangone? Just looking at these odds.
Oh,
Bruce Brown, 65.
I can't see him getting it though.
Yeah,
Denver's gonna post a good record though. Listen to these odds.
It's all about scoring. It's really who's the highest scorer off the bench, and Colin Sexton can do that.
It goes Russ at plus 125. I don't think he stays.
Weird.
I don't think he stays in that role the whole year. Jordan,
he might not even stay on the team the whole year.
Even if he does, go look at all the 6 men of the year.
They're all on winning teams.
No, yes, that's why I don't understand this. This Russell Westbrook bet is literally terrible.
That's awful. Why just looking at this list, the couple guys that I would throw just some money on right now: Bruce Brown at 65-1, Kevin Love 42-1, your guy Sexton at 19, and maybe just a long shot on Trey Murphy at 100-1.
Yeah, I like Love the best out of all the 3 that you mentioned there.
Same.
I like Love at 42-1. I think Bruce Brown has a weird path too because I don't trust Bone Highlands to be the 6th man there. And Bruce Brown looks good in that role right now. Mike Malone just might take the veteran guy and just run with him as the 6th man.
Yeah,
My
it's not
concern with him is they just seem to
worse.
give it to the highest scorer. It's just who averages the most points per game off the bench, it feels like.
So spread. Can I go back to my Colin Sexton thing and just give you the counter argument where you said, "Oh, they're going to make a trade." They're not making a trade. You know why? They're pushing for playoffs. Like it's just.
I hope so too. I think it's so crazy that they're like mad, like, oh, we're ruining the tank. I'm over here in Sacramento. We haven't seen a playoff thing since you were like 5 years old, Tyler. Right. And so I know that once you get in that bad spot, how hard it is to turn things around. You have a winning team. Don't blow it up for a chance to lose in the lottery. What if you blow it up, trade everyone away, and then you land at 3?
But so my argument with the Jazz thing, what on earth team is 10-5 and says we're going to start the tank? Now they have to lose a lot of games to, I think, then get to that point. Like when you're in the mix, you're not going to trade Mike Conley. Also, who is trading for Mike Conley? Like in all seriousness, that's like
who needs point guards? That's why I say about John Wall, he's a good player, but the point guard depth is so good.
They're not. They can't afford Mike Conley.
Yeah,
I mean they'll figure something out. They trade Russell Westbrook.
Oh, they can. This whole Lakers are making a trade. Like it's just they have nothing to give. You have to have something to give to make a trade. You have to have an asset. They don't have assets.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I mean, I'll just say I listen to the Lakers spaces on Twitter because they're hilarious and I just like to laugh and I'm bored at 11 o'clock at night. Why not? While I'm going to bed. But like the idea that the Lakers are going to make a trade just baffles me. I don't know what they're going to do. Like they don't have anything to give. Like the whole Miles Turner, Buddy Hield thing. No, I don't. Unless the team just giving something away for free, there's no chance. So like, I don't know. And I should just pull up the Utah schedule just to see like who they play. And I mean, they get New York, Phoenix, Portland, LA, Detroit, Golden State. I mean, it's definitely gets a little tough, but they got some easier ones mixed in there. We'll see how long the Jazz can fight. I'd be curious to see by the end of 2020 where Utah is at. And then if there's a team that's in the market to grab Conley, I just don't think there's going to be a team in the market to grab him. That's my concern. So
I agree with you. Who does Mike Conley help?
You got me scrolling through this 6-man list. Just a couple other names that stick out. Simon starts right now, right, for Portland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many? I don't know the exact games he would have to drop back onto the bench, but at 240-1, if he drops back to the 6-man role in Portland, he instantly becomes the favorite to win that award.
Yeah, but why would they drop him out of? They're doing great in Portland. Why would they mess things up? And Shannon Sharp is their 6-man.
Dame just gets hurt too much.
That's the only thing too. Spencer Dinwiddie at 180-1. I mean, that could be something too. He's a scorer off the bench for Dallas. They have a nice run towards the end. You know his role is solidified on that team.
I think you need Christian Wood to be like, I was gonna say you need him to be out, but then he slides in the lineup, I guess, more. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Quickly's looked good in New York if he gets that role at 240-1. But New York sucks, so that's the big thing there.
Yeah, no. New York won't play him enough. I'm just looking at the list because these are fun. I love these.
Yeah, you have me looking at it now. It's like these odds have shifted since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they've definitely moved a ton, and it's interesting to look at for sure. But yeah, I mean, we can go on the DFS side. I mean, this is a very big game, so I know we've talked a ton about that. But this is a big game DFS wise because if you look, all the value is technically the Jazz today. I mean, Colin Sexton, we talked about him a bunch, but he's 4,400. That's a really good price tag for someone who's been playing a solid amount of minutes. Vanderbilt, 4-7. Do you think he's going to be a really good play that we want to go to? I mean, he plays pretty consistent minutes for the most part, so not going to ignore him there. Lauri Markkanen has been incredible this year. He does have a floor, though, right? For being a 7.5K guy, he has a worse floor than you would like. So I do think that's worth mentioning with him, but I think he's in play. I think Kelly Olynyk at 5K is one of those centers that you can go to, Tyler. I know we talked about center being bad, but I think people are going to look to play Kelly Olynyk because of what he can do there. Mike Conley's only 5'6". I mean, he was 6'4" not too long ago. So a lot of these prices have gone down, which has naturally created value. My problem with Utah is when I run stuff, at least right now at 2:36 Eastern, first team I see, 6 Jazz, 3 Jazz, 3 Jazz, 5, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, and then 4. That's a lot of Jazz. I don't need to play that many. I kind of think the magic number on Jazz is going to be 2 or 3. That's kind of where I think I'm going to want to live at. I want to run stuff, obviously, and once we get more news, that could be big. I also think the Spurs be on that back-to-back, and we know Popovich can do some weird stuff. There could be some landmines there, but there could be some gems as well. And I think this, with Nurkic sitting there, right? Nurkic has been kind of sitting for a while, spread. Why not have Nurkic sit and play Drew Eubanks in the old revenge game as we get to that later on, who could be a value that pops up. So I think there's good value on Utah, but I'm not going to jump on the value right away. I'm going to analyze how the injury situation's going. I also think we kind of create some of our own value plays on this Nets side and take some chance on that Nets and Kings game with some options as well. So ultimately, I think this is a good game. I think you want to get exposure to this Jazz side, but you don't need to get exposure to everyone on it. And if you want to like kind of limit some Jazz exposure, why not go the other way and grab some Knicks? It seems like a lot of the teams are just loading up on Jazz and onslaughting them. Well, why can't we play RJ Barrett at 6.4K? We love his upside. We know what he can do. I think Jalen Brunson at 6.8K, he's been absolutely incredible. He's been driving to the hoop more. They've been doing more pick and rolls. I think Jalen Brunson is certainly in play. Since they have so many big men over on Utah and they like to use them, Hartenstein and Randall, I think they're going to be used a ton. Just the question is, what do you feel about that rotation? Do you think they're going to dive too deep into some of these other options? That's the one thing to worry about a little bit with the Knicks. But I think my best strategy right now in order to get different is while everyone's just loading up on Utah, I'm going to play some Utah, but then I might turn Mike Conley into Jalen Brunson, right? Maybe I'll turn Lauri Markkanen into RJ Barrett. I'll try and grab some Knicks along with my Jazz and then go from there.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson is an interesting option here, and you already answered. I was going to interrupt and ask you who do I run it back with if I load up with the Jazz, but I think I got a pretty good idea. Would you say that RJ and Brunson are the top two run back candidates?
Yeah, like here's a great 2v2. Like I think this probably matches up perfectly. It's literally Mike Conley at 5'6" to Jalen Brunson at 6'8", so that's $1,200. And then Lauri Markkanen from 7'5" to RJ Barrett, who's 6'4". That's like, so you're $300 off if it was a zeroed out salary, but literally just change. When you have 4 or 5 Jazz, change Markkanen and Conley to Brunson and RJ Barrett. And now I have a nice little like mini game stack of that game, along with like one of Colin Sexton and one of like Olynyk and Vanderbilt, right? Like, I think that's a way better setup than onslaughting the Utah Jazz. Like, I mean, yes, the Knicks have been really, really bad defensively, but are we really onslaughting the Utah Jazz today? Yes, they have good price tags, but in tournaments, are 5 or like 4 Jazz going to get there? I don't think so. I think that magic number is 3 or 2. And I think making sure to add in some Knicks is that differentiation play. And I think doing it with the 2 guys that you know are going to play a million minutes, right? You're not worried about Jalen Brunson's minutes or RJ Barrett's minutes. The guys' minutes in the starting lineup you're worried about are Julius Randle at times. His minutes are fine. But again, I don't want to pay 8-1 for Julius Randle. There's probably some bias there. And then it's that center spot, right? Could it be Hartenstein? Could it be Sims? And they mix in Cam Reddish. Like, just play the 2 guys that you know their minutes are there no matter what.
All right. Tyler, anything more on this game before we move on?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs, who are now +8 in Portland, taking on the Trailblazers. Total of 226.5. Tyler, when I originally ran this, I manually adjusted my projections because they told me to take the Spurs again. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Out that performance last night, and then it's a back-to-back? No way. Absolutely no way. I'm not saying I'm going to lay it with Portland, but boy, I have a bad taste in my mouth after watching that performance last night, and I only made it till halftime until I was utterly disgusted. What are your thoughts on this game between the Spurs and the Blazers? Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Blazers win it, but just looking at this injury report spread, we're talking about value, and I see 3 questionable tags on the Spurs side, which might just leave Vassell and Keldon Johnson as the main guys with a bunch of cheapies. And then Nurkic might be out. Winslow might be out. Keon Johnson, who's a backup guard, might be out. Gary Payton's still out. I mean, I'm interested to see how Travis talks about this on DFS. 8, if I had to bet the side, I would lay the 8. I think Portland wins. But just give me Simons to hit 4 threes here, spread. His over 3.5 is still plus money somehow. And you look at his game logs. He shot 20 shots last game. 11 of them were threes. He made 5 of them. He shot 18 shots the game before that. 13 of them were threes. He made 5. 18 shots the game before. 9 threes. 2 of them made. 20 shots, 12 threes, 4 made. 21 shots, 11 threes, 4 made. More than half of this guy's shots are coming from behind the three-point line. The volume's going to be there. The Spurs don't play much defense, and they're also on a back-to-back. give me him to hit 4 threes here. I think he puts those in pretty quick.
I think that's a great look there. Travis, we talked about flexibility earlier, and I think Tyler highlighted one of the reasons we want to have flexibility tonight. This injury report is just littered with Q tags. How do you approach this game, and what are you expecting? And boy, it's kind of tough to run projections with 6 major guys being questionable. I guess Branham's not major, but 5 major guys being questionable. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll talk about this game, but I want to address Bossbra in the chat. He decided to say that the Lakers would trade for Mike Conley and then call it a season. This is the thing. We need to make this a norm. When you actually say a team is going to trade for someone, they have to make a trade back. So what are they giving up? And what is the team accepting, right? It's like if I said, Tyler, we're going to trade you for Big T because we want Big T's DFS advice. Nothing against you, Tyler, but Big T, we would like his, or even me. Let's trade Mangone. Well, what are we getting back? You know what I mean? Is that worth a trade? No, it's not worth a trade. Okay. It's just simple. So let's make it where the trade is actually realistic. This ain't a video game. I love video games. I love playing Madden. This ain't. We can't. You
didn't factor in our cap hits, Mangone.
Yeah, we didn't factor cap. Yeah, well, I didn't get that.
The salaries, maybe they get the $50 million off the cap next year. They go spend it on somebody they want.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. It's like it's absolutely just awful, awful, awful. You can't just make trades out of nowhere. You can't just say we're grabbing this guy for this guy. I'm sorry, it's not a video game. Please counter with an actual realistic trade, and I'll have the conversation. I think it's fun. I love trade.
Getting challenged to Madden for money now.
Yeah, it's just like they don't have draft picks. Like, you know what I mean? Like Watanabe is going to be going to the Pelicans. Like, it's going to be a disaster. You know what I mean? It would be amazing if he went there, by the way.
It would be. In Sacramento, that'd be like the greatest thing to happen to us as Kings fans because we know our team doesn't really have much to cheer for.
Yeah. So, anyways, Joey Work wants to know if I want to play Madden for money. Joey Work, back in the day, yes, I would. I'm not as good as I used to be. I was very good at Madden, but I can't anymore. I don't know. I haven't played that game in a while. That's one of those games I boycotted. I was like, this game just is the same garbage every single year. I need to boycott it, and I decided to do it. So.
I mean, we just got past the Knicks game too. We could have got our guy Joey Works take on the Knicks game. Yeah. See what that he'll give it in the chat. Do you think they beat him in Utah tonight?
Yeah, we got to hear this. Although I think I got a pretty good idea of what Joey's going to answer. So, all right, Travis.
No, hold on. We got to go back. Boss Bro said he has a team that Conley could go to, the Lakers. Boss Bro, what is the trade? Who is being sent to who? You can't just say the team. Give me names. Name the players in the deal. You just can't say.
I got it, Travis. I built the trade machine on the ESPN.com.
Oh, did you?
No, I was just throwing that out there. But you send Russ to the Jazz.
They're not. Why are the Jazz taking Russ?
This becomes a 3-team trade. They kick them to Indy. Indy kicks back Miles Turner and Buddy Hield to the Lakers. And the Lakers open that little box of the 2 first-round picks and kicks those back to somebody.
What are the Jazz getting? They're getting nothing?
Cap space next year.
Okay,
they don't need cap space.
Now why?
Who's signing in Utah?
After watching them win with some young guys and some
nobody will go to Utah. Nobody will ever go to Utah.
Why do the Pacers want Mike Conley? For what reason are they in the market for Mike Conley?
Yeah,
because they get cap space off of him next year too.
Travis, this is delving into my least favorite thing of NBA podcasts. There's nothing worse than when I turn on a podcast of guys that I like, and all they do is fake trades the whole time. And I'm like, there's games to be talked about. So let me just delve this back in. Thank you, Boss Bruh, for bossing our chat and derailing the show. Travis, I need to know, and the people need to know, how do we approach this game with so many questionable tags? Like, are you just like, is it like a chess move? Like, oh, if he moves here, I'm going to do this. I mean, like, how do you approach a game with so many moving parts and it's sitting here and it's late at night, right? So,
all right, I'll get into it, but I do have to address the chat again. Joey Work wants to know. He says, I'm wearing his shirt, Worko Machine.
Yeah, the Worko.
This is my uncle's shop in Jersey, PA area. So it's a Worko Machine. That's he owns it. So I just happen to wear it sometimes. So repping Joey Work today though as well.
Let me address this one too. The Russ hate for Mangone, and in parentheses you should say, and every NBA GM.
You just wanted to come at our guy, we the people.
I mean, but here's the problem.
Because what's up?
The problem is, why on earth are the Utah Jazz trading for Russell Westbrook?
No, but why would anybody trade for him?
They're just like, it's I don't get it. Like, they don't need him. Like, it just makes no sense. But anyways.
All right, let's get back into this. How do we approach this, though? Because I think this is one of the toughest things to deal with when you're doing NBA DFS is you have a late night hammer game with 5 Q tags.
Yeah. All right. So we'll obviously talk about this game. It's obviously important. There's a bunch of Q tags in it. Let's talk about the Portland side first. So, like, maybe I'm a bit of a narrative guy, right? But, like, why is Nurkic going to play against the Spurs on a back-to-back? Like, this is a great spot to just let Eubanks cook, right? Let's start the movement spread. Let Eubanks cook. Yeah.
Let's ride.
I just think Drew Eubanks is going to be a pretty interesting play today because I think Nurkic is going to sit. If he doesn't sit, though, even if he does sit, and they're playing the Spurs, right? And when you play the Spurs, it's like positionless basketball at times. Yes, they have a lot of big men, but Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, I think Jeremy Grant's, he's dropped bombs lately, right? The 50 pieces that he's had has been awesome, but Josh Hart and Grant are both interesting mid-tier options that it's like, you can make a pivot off Lauri Markkanen for Jeremy Grant, or maybe a pivot off of some of these other guys we're talking about. Like, maybe you don't play RJ Barrett and you play like Josh Hart. He could obviously be pretty good, especially if Winslow sits. Winslow's a big usage guy. I don't think people understand how much usage he kind of soaks up and runs. So if he's out, the ball's got to go somewhere else. So, and then if he's in, obviously that hurts some of those guys because they only play with one basketball. Anthony Simons is interesting at 7-7. Here's a good question for you, Tyler. Zion gets ruled out. Are you waiting on Anthony Simons and some news, or you're locking into CJ McCollum at like a similar price? I was kind of thinking if Zion's out, I would lock into CJ McCollum. How about you?
I'd probably take Simons. Just
okay.
This literally only because I watched this happen one night where he played the late game, and I'm scrolling through the DFS thing, and I'm like, which team's gonna have the best chance to win this? And I'm looking, everyone's got 0 guys remaining, and then I get to like 20th. There's a guy sitting there like 30 points down. He has one guy left. I click on it, and guess who it is? Anthony Simons.
Yeah.
Look at it at the end of the night. Who won the contest by 40 points? That guy.
Yeah. One thing about Anthony Simons, I'll say too, is he is a late guy, which is kind of nice. And like one thing you can do too is like, I don't know, you can like, if you're like behind tonight, let's say John Nukes for 16. You feel like you're behind. If you have a lot of like late guys in your lineup, you're going to have all the information to kind of like maneuver your team around if you really need to. Not saying you should, but like you could. So I always find that kind of interesting. But Portland side is definitely going to be a good one to look at. But the Spurs, I want to talk about them because obviously we need to know what's going to happen with this news. Is Trey Jones going to be in? If Trey Jones is in at 5'7", he's actually a pretty good play. If he's out and like Langford's out and Branham, like start counting the body spread. They don't have guards. They have none. It'd be Josh Richardson. It'd be this Jordan Hall guy at 3K, which like, listen, he played 16 minutes last night, put up 16 DK points. We do not have salary relief today. We have no salary. Like, it's not good. Teams are slamming in 5 Utah Jazz. Like, what are we doing? Creating your own value with Jordan Hall. I don't hate it if some of these guys are out. And I don't think he'll pop out of nowhere. So I think Doug McDermott could be interesting at 3-4, mainly because all you're saying is, do I play someone at 3K or do I play someone at like the 5-5 range? And that allows me to grab one more big stud into my lineup, right? That could be an interesting way to go about the 2v2 or the 3v3. Like, let's say John Morant goes for 50 tonight, which 50 is kind of a realistic number, right? Say he goes for 50, and then say Mike Conley goes for 22. That adds up to 72 DK points. What if I played Luka and he drops 73? Now I have like a guy that's like 2.5K less because obviously that's kind of the gap, right? It's like 2-3 or 2-2. Play one of these 3K guys, and I'm ahead of you, right? And the 2v2. It's not only Johnny's that have a big game. It's some of these other values you play do. And sometimes when you kind of create your own values and like play these 3K guys, what it can do for your full lineup is important. This is not one of those slates, at least right now, where we have amazing value plays, and amazing value plays could open up later on. Keldon Johnson's only 7.6K, which feels like a good price for what he's done throughout the year, safety-wise in cash games. But only playing 19 minutes against Golden State, there is that uncertainty there. And they are more crowded at the forward position, right? They have Roby. If you watched last night, they have Roby. They have McDermott. They have Sochan. They have Bates Diop. They have Podol. They have Bassi, who I actually like at 4.1K that I think I'm going to take a chance on. I was hoping he'd be a little bit cheaper, but at 4.1, I'm not sleeping on Bassi at all. So the point I'm getting at is if you have the same guys out for the Spurs like you did yesterday, Go and look at the guards that they have. They don't have anyone. Like Josh Richardson was playing in the fourth quarter, and I was like, why is he playing? Like, there's no reason to play Josh Richardson this late, but he was playing because they just literally don't have guards. And that's why you saw Jordan Hall getting minutes yesterday. So at the end of the day, this is a game that I think we are going to have to pay close attention to the injury news. Gotta have some flexibility to be able to make some decisions on it. And hopefully we get some news or some updates at that 5:30 Eastern mark like we typically do. So that way we can kind of figure out how to go about some of our lineups, because if you don't know some of these like injury statuses and then guys get ruled in, like let's say Trey Jones gets ruled in, let's say Nurkic gets ruled in, well, it makes a lot of these plays a lot worse. And then you're kind of a little frustrated with the situation that you're at. So something to definitely consider. The injury news is very, very important in this game.
All right. And of course, when you're navigating this injury news, there's no better place to do it than on runpuresports.com. Not only are you changing the cores, AP's adjusting his heat map, Glaucoma does the FanDuel heat map, but you have the Up to Lock show. And Travis, you're good in game, but I always say there's no one better than JSU at just doing those 2v2s on the fly, right? The news hits, the questions in the chat. Holden hopefully reads the right question, gives it to him, and you get a great answer right off the bat. So if you're playing daily fantasy, anything more than the $1 entries, you need to be a member of runpuresports.com. Head on over, join the team. Love to see it. All right, Tyler, anything more from this game before we move on?
Oh, that's it for me on that one.
All right, let's go into our final game of the night. My favorite team, Tyler, they're doing good, man. They're 6-2 in their last 8. They got a win over the Warriors. Sabonis, what did he get? 26 and 22 in that win over the Warriors. De'Aaron Fox has been everything that we had hoped for, when we originally drafted him. And they finally put some shooters around him. I think that Herter, Malik Monk, and, of course, Keegan Murray. And Mike Brown's having this team play defense. Now, are they like a contender in the West? No, but this playoff drought, maybe, just maybe, I'm crossing my fingers, could be over. But to do that, they're going to have to win games like the one that they have tonight, and that's against the Brooklyn Nets. And we know how these West Coast road trips are on these teams, especially with younger players that like to enjoy being in Los Angeles, being in San Francisco, right? Being in these places. Now, Sacramento's not so fun. But, I'm sure they've had fun the last couple days. So, Tyler, another one that I was hoping to talk to you about before we went on the air, but we're doing it here. My projections like the Kings, but I'm always scared of backing the Kings, especially in a game like tonight where they definitely will not have the best player on the floor. But I would argue, they have a much better supporting cast around their stars. Kevin Durant's going to be dragging, the rest of these young guys up and down the floor. My projections like the Kings. Do I take the plunge? Do I do it again? They cashed with me on, what was it, Saturday or Sunday when they played the Warriors. Do I go back to the Kings?
I say no. Just because this Brooklyn team has looked a lot different ever since Kyrie left. Like, even some of these guys were like, oh, he's dragging them along. Like, Cam Thomas is holding his own. Like, he's putting up a ton of points. He's in a spot where De'Aaron Fox isn't going to play much defense. He could still hang 20 to 25 points here. Royce O'Neal's playing like a third option somehow, some way. He doesn't look like a guy just standing in the corner shooting threes. So he's playing well. Claxton kind of can keep Sabonis off the boards a bit, but also it's Sabonis, so he's going to get his. And there is nobody on that team that's going to guard Kevin Durant. Nobody. Keegan Murray, not a chance. Davion Mitchell's like a foot too short. There's just no one there.
But so, couldn't Durant drop like 37 and the Kings win by 10?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just think he's dictating these games so well lately that he's just keeping his team in them. I think he could pull off the win here. So I kind of like the Nets here. I like KD as the best spend up in DFS too. I'm interested to see what Travis says about that. Like if I had enough money for him and Luka in the end in the Utah spot, I'm taking KD.
Wow. What do you think of that take, Travis?
Sorry, the chat has derailed me. We are going to have a conversation at the end of the show about Russell Westbrook and contracts, and we're going to educate people. But you said something about KD, Tyler. You're asking if you like him today.
We're not talking about Russ anymore.
At the end of the show, we are. At the end of the show, we are.
The topic is so played. Okay.
At the end of the show, we are. I have an exercise that'll definitely educate everyone.
We
If I was
are
doing the
going into
lineup,
like
Travis,
basic
and I
bitch
had enough
podcast
money for
territory
either
here.
Luka
We're just
or
talking
KD
about
at the end of the
potential
night,
rest trades.
I'm taking
Can
KD
anything
every
be
time.
more basic? Unbelievable.
You're taking KD over who, Tyler? Over everyone?
I said I was going to take KD over Luka every time if I had the money. And if I got to the end of my lineup, util spot, click it, I could pick whoever I want. It's KD at the top.
Okay, interesting. I think I would take Luka if salary didn't matter, right? But salary is going to matter, and then positions matter too, right? So like I think depending on where value shakes out, I think KD could be the better play. And ownership's going to matter too on that too a little bit, right? Like, what if KD's 40%? Luka's like, and he's going to be 110%, right? Like, no one can get Luka. It's like very hard to. So again, I haven't built a Luka lineup yet too. So like that's another interesting thing. Like hit lock button on Luka. Like this, sometimes people like they run stuff and they don't look like just literally lock Luka and then be like, ooh, this is getting difficult. You know what I mean? So, but I agree. I think I like the KD side more. Also don't want to sleep on some of these Kings. I think these Kings options are really, really good. Obviously we have to like De'Aaron Fox. We have to like Sabonis and what he's been doing. I mean, what rim protection are we worried about really with the Nets? I do think Claxton at 5'9" is a really good value. We talked about center not being as great, Tyler. I mean, Claxton against the Kings, fast-paced game. That sounds like something I'm interested in. And also, don't sleep on a lot of these Nets today. They are playing the Kings that play one of the fastest paces in the league. I'm not worried about this Kings team in general. So let's look at some Nets. Who are the ones that we can consider? Sumner, I think at 3'6", who's guard and forward eligible, is actually kind of interesting today because of what he can do for your full lineup. Joe Harris at 4'1", another value play that I'm kind of interested in. Royce O'Neal at 5'2". People like to make fun of Royce O'Neal, but Royce O'Neal's role, I personally believe, is a little bit different on this team. Now, if Seth Curry is back, which I believe he will be, I think that hurts Royce O'Neal a little bit. But Seth Curry at 4'2", playing 28 and 23 minutes the last two games against the Kings, fast-paced, lots of shots being put up. Why can't we consider Seth Curry? He is not popping right now as a good play. I think he's one of those values that we can kind of create a value with that maybe the projections haven't caught up on. So I think Seth Curry could be an interesting option that I'm going to consider here in this spot. Yeah, so let's keep going. I do want to mention the Kings. There's a couple over there that are values that are interesting. And again, I talked about not liking the first games, and I might need to kind of make up some values here later on. So I'm going to go to – actually, I should have said Cam Thomas. I think his minutes could be interesting, but he's 4'1". There's probably better options. And a better option would be on the Kings side, Malik Monk, right, at 4'6". I think he could be a really interesting one that I look at. I'm not dying to play Harrison Barnes at the 4'7" tag. If I had the money at 5'4" for Herter, I wouldn't hate it, but not someone I'm dying to get to. Keegan Murray at 4'8" could be intriguing just because we've seen him show some upside, and the minutes are going to be like 28 to 30. He maybe doesn't project great, but I do think he could be someone that isn't grading out as well. And again, we're trying to look for these different values. Maybe Jared Vanderbilt ends up being 50 to 60% owned, and you get Keegan Murray at like below 10%. Why wouldn't you consider something like that in your tournaments? I just don't think it's a bad idea at all. So I think that's kind of it for me, but I like this Nets Kings game. I think it's one that I might key in on a little bit more with trying to get some studs and some values in my lineups.
All right. Tyler, anything else?
Nope, I think we touched on everything in that game.
All right. So there we have it. We've gone through the slate. Man, plenty of options, Travis. I love when you come on because it just makes me want to build more than one lineup. Because I think that there's one, let's say you just want to build two today. Run a Knicks Jazz one and then run a Kings Nets one, right? And then
that sounds like
how different would it get you if you just played a 1-1 out of that Knicks Jazz game? Just one guy on each side.
Oh, you're so different. I mean, right. The one thing you got to do though, Tyler, is like this is what I like to do. Like I like to go in the opto and I limit like 1-1, and then I see what pops up and I go like, oof, like this isn't good. Or I go, this ain't as bad as I thought. You know what I mean? Like I just like to look funny. Like, why aren't we going window shopping? Let's check it out. We don't need to play 5 Jazz. Like, I mean, if 5 Jazz are in the winner, like, I don't know. I'm okay to lose, I think, tonight. Like 5 is a lot. Like they're all going to get there. And then you don't even play any run backs. It's like, what do you think the Jazz win? Like 200 to like 100? Like, I mean, they're not playing against Russell Westbrook defense. So.
Oh, all right. Love that you brought it back because all you have to do is mention Russ, and no one's even talking about DFS in the chat anymore. Nobody's talking about tonight's slate anymore. Unbelievable. It's like when I write about tennis, right? I get pissed because they just have me write about Serena Williams. I'm like, she has no chance to win the U.S. Open, but I write like 5 articles about Serena Williams. Why? 'Cause
Yeah.
everybody clicks on it. So
well, here's the thing, spread. So I'm going to go through it right now. Everyone talks about Russ is this great asset that we need to have, right? Well, he's on a max contract.
Nobody thinks that. Look at which NBA
chat
GM. Everyone had a chance to
does.
trade
Look at
for
him.
him. But no
The chat
NBA
thinks he's
GMs
great.
thought that.
They think he's great. So here's the thing. Here are all the guys, the top 20 guys.
He was great.
What?
He was in 2018. He was one of the best players we've ever seen.
He was amazing. He was awesome and fun to watch.
Almost
And
2023.
Occasionally we get flashes of the pan of it, and it's fun to watch. I love watching him run up and down the court. But it's not equating to wins. And also, if you look here, I'm just going to list off the top 20 guys that are under max contracts in the league, right? Like these guys: Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard. You can stop me when there's a guy that you would actually rather have over Russell Westbrook. Just stop me. Mention the guy's name in the chat. Feel free. Let's keep going. Giannis, would you like him? Kawhi Leonard. To be fair, the dude never plays. But
I might have Russ over Kawhi just because he takes the court.
No, I'd still rather have Kawhi because I'd rather have him in the hopes that I can actually win a title.
You just
Paul
like
George.
New Balance.
Here's a fair argument. John Wall. I mean, that is something I'm not interested in. Like, I'd rather have Russ over John Wall. You got me there. Klay Thompson. I'd rather have Klay. I don't care. Rudy Gobert. To be honest, I'm not a big Gobert guy. Maybe I'd rather have Russ, as crazy as that sounds, as long as he can come off the bench and do what he's doing, because I think that role's way better for him. Anthony Davis, Chris Middleton, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. To be fair, I think Russ is better than Tobias, but if I'm constructing a team, I don't know. Russ can hurt you in some ways. But yeah, I won't fight you on that one. If you want to take that one, that's fine, because Tobias is a really bad contract. Luka, Trae Young, Zach LaVine, Kyrie Irving. My point being, this trade ain't happening. Russ is not actually valuable for your team. And for all the people that say that I hate on Russell Westbrook, there is a tweet out there that has me saying, I love this trade for the Lakers, and I think it's a really, really good deal. And I think Russ could be valuable for them other than what they were having before. And I was wrong. This is not spite of it, but I was on the side that it was going to be a good deal. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, and I was wrong on that one.
All right. Well, now that we've done what every single NBA podcast in the history of NBA podcasts has discussed, can we move on to the best bets? Or is there anything else in the chat you'd like to address there, Travis? Because when you come on, the chat's lively. I got to give you credit, right? You drive engagement here.
Yeah, people love the engagement for sure. Yeah. Go to me last for the best bets, though. I've been very engaged with the chat and fighting about things. So I love it. So hey, lively chat today, and hey, we appreciate everybody for watching us. Here's the deal: if you think that Mangone has the absolutely worst take on Russell Westbrook, we'll take a poll. Hit the thumbs up button if you think that Mangone's take is absolutely terrible. So we'll check that at the end of the show. Tyler, let's start with you. What is your best bet for today, side total or prop?
Give me that Anthony Simons over 3.5 threes. I'm going back to a prop spread. We'll see if this guy can hit the 4 or if he's going to join the crew from last night that went 2 for 14.
All right. He's taking Anthony Simons. And let's see. You said go to you last. Let me go over this one more time. Gosh. I show so many edges that my mind doesn't like. You told me not to take the Kings. I did like that one. Give me the Jazz. I'll take the Jazz minus 4.5. I like the Kings as well, too. Those are my two biggest edges on the board, and there are some totals I like. But we'll keep those. Check the NBA playbook, and you will see that over on the Run Pure Bets website. So there's an NBA playbook for DFS. When you go to the bets page, there's also an NBA playbook there as well. So hey, we've been actually
I got another one I like playbook too, just because
we'll give it out.
I think these odds are way too far out.
Okay.
If this dude hits 4 threes for us, he's probably chucking to try and make a 5th. We think they win this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him to hit 5 threes in Portland wins on FanDuel is plus 310.
That's
to
fantastic.
Where Lillard to hit 5 threes in Portland win is only plus 280. I think Simons has a better chance on hitting the 3, so I like that performance double there too.
All right, and our guy, We the People, is donning his Rush jersey as he's placing this one. He said his best bet is the bonus double and win. Can't argue there, man. Can't argue there. Like Travis said, what rim protection are we worried about from the Brooklyn Nets tonight? So, and I think that's a great performance double. Travis, we've given you some time, but the people want to know. They want the winner from Mr. Mangone. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just there's one prop. I'm just looking at the number because I have one ready to go. But if this prop is better, I'm gonna fire it. So I'm trying to find the number real quick. Let's see. Why am I not finding it? Oh, there it is. Oh man, that's tough. Okay, actually, I'm gonna go with it. Let's go with the over on Jalen Brunson's points. On FanDuel, I have 19.5. Maybe you can shop it around and find better. Tyler, what do you have on a book in front of you? Do you have 18.5 anywhere, or is it 19.5?
Give me 1 second. I got that unabated pulled up. I can get you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, pull that up because that's actually a great tool. I can talk about it real quick. It's a tool that obviously helps you,
you can get 19.5 minus 105 on BetMGM. That's going to be your best number. Everything else is either a 19.5 juiced to like minus 120 or a 20.5 at like minus 108.
I still like it. And one reason why, like I was looking at some DVP stuff and it does look like small forwards and shooting guards a little bit tougher on the Knicks, but the Jazz are better at defending. And I think I could funnel some stuff to Brunson. And he's just been driving to the hoop way more. And I just think that number doesn't understand how good of the role Brunson is in right now. So give me Jalen Brunson. We'll go with him as my over on 19.5 as my best bet.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Travis. A lively discussion today. I love to see it. I'm having so much fun. I might act all perturbed, but hey, it's a great time every single time that you come on. And of course, Travis and I will be back tomorrow talking NFL on the Picking Winners show hosted by Holden. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You'll be notified every single time we go live. But that's not all. Before that, Tyler and I will be on at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing the NBA rundown. And Travis, can we get some props here? Can we get some props? We haven't ran over once. Every single time we've gone through the whole slate before, we haven't pushed us back. I think that we're doing a great job there. I think we deserve a little credit.
Yeah, no, definitely credit there. And I want to request, and I don't know if the chat will want it or not, but I want to be on the if you want to have one in January and then one in February, I'm fine to do both. But I want to be on the trade machine, trade deadline, Run Pure Sports show.
Oh, you're definitely on that show.
Yeah. I don't mind doing one in January too. Like
I say
the most basic podcast. I'll go get a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks.
I say we do one where we think all the trades we think are going to go through, and then we do one as the deadline ends. Like
agreed. I'm in. I'm booked. I love it. It'll be a lot of fun. And hey, I can fight with the chat about different things of that. And again, some things I'll be right on, and some things I'll be wrong on. Of course, I totally get it. But it's always a fun time. I love the NBA trade time. Some people always want to talk about betting NBA finals picks like early in the year. And I'm like, I kind of want to wait just because I know like a lot of trades do go down. So we'll have to see. Maybe a title team chases after Russell Westbrook and gets that final missing piece to win a title.
Wow. All right. On that note, thank you everybody for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you everybody for the chat. We're under one more time. Give us a thumbs up. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, talking through these things. Even if you hate our takes, we're doing it for the people. Run Pure.